So, not all those who wander are lost, but yes, wired, surely. Well, my name is Sejal Bansal, and if there is one thing that life has taught me, it is that sometimes wandering is extremely crucial for us to understand where we truly belong. And this is completely based on personal experiences. So, my life has never been a straight line. And for the longest time, I thought that meant I was failing. Have you felt that way? Like everyone around you is walking in neat, straight lines, and you were just stumbling, circling, detouring. But what if I told you you weren't lost at all? You were just taking the scenic route home. My route began very early. I was only 6 years old when I traded the warmth of home for the long, echoing hallways of a boarding school. Imagine that. You learn a special kind of fear in that kind of silence, the kind you can almost hear. That is where I first learned to parent myself and to be my own friend. A skill I never knew I'd need again and again. Years later, COVID brought back the same kind of silence. I was in Bombay, a city that literally runs on chaos and speed. Missed trains, crowded streets, and deadlines that blurred into nights. And suddenly, it was all quiet. I still remember sitting at my desk, staring at the walls, feeling like the silence was pressing on me. But in that silence, one question did not leave me alone. What now? And to be very honest, I didn't know. And that terrified me. Because I am a kind of person who needs to have a 5 year plan and a backup plan and a backup plan for a backup plan. How many of you have a plan B here for things? Most of us, right? Well, I have plans till Z. So imagine how terrified I was. The answer, very strangely, was on the other side of the world. In the UK, I didn't just study, I unraveled and rebuilt. I dove headfirst into an MSc in psychology at the University. I mean, who doesn't want to know how the human brain works, right? Halfway into the semester, and I repeat, only halfway into the semester, I realized that understanding the human brain does not mean you can control it, especially when you want snacks at 2 a.m. before an exam. I spent my time exploring everything, to why we remember certain things and forget the others, to the weird and wonderful ways our personalities evolve. It was like someone had finally handed me an instruction manual to the very thing that I thought was lost, which in this case is nobody but me. But there, for the first time, the chaos inside me felt less like a personal failure and more like a puzzle that I could solve. This wasn't just an academic course, it was a journey into the mechanics of human heart and mind. I didn't just learn to be a therapist, I transformed as a person. Because being away from everything familiar, you have no idea who you're around. It is daunting, but it is also very powerful because it forces you to meet yourself over and over again and to see the world and yourself in a new way. But the hard part was never going, it was coming back because I didn't feel at home anywhere, not in my work, not in my city, not even in myself. Loneliness became my shadow, and self doubt became the loudest voice that I heard. I asked myself in a whisper, but it felt like a scream. Do I have anything else to give? And then, in no time, hypnotherapy found me. Now, this wasn't a sudden flash of light. It was more like a slow sunrise after a very long night. You know, the kind that gently creeps in until the whole room is flooded with light? How many of us have felt that? You know, when things finally start to make sense and all the pieces that we were holding finally fit in together? For the first time, my heart and my mind stopped fighting. And I felt what I hadn't felt in years. I felt at home. Because everything that I care about, helping people heal, understanding why we think and feel the way we do, and believing in our ability to change, all of it came together. And let me tell you a funny story. When I first came across this word apricity, it sounded very fancy to me. It sounded like an expensive candle. And I was like, wow. But this word became my anchor. Because probably this is what I was looking for, and this is exactly what I wanted to give others. Not fixes, not perfection, just a place where anybody, absolutely anybody, could show up messy, tired, broken, and still be met with kindness. And you know, the truth is that I've seen the magic that is created when people find that warmth. I'll tell you about a client. She came to me carrying so much. Her heart was broken. She was crippled by self doubt. And she was all over the place. For her, life was not something to live, it was just to get through. But in our time together, she began to soften. She began to feel it. You know, that stubborn belief that she was carrying, that I'm not worthy of love and belonging, that finally started to loosen its grip. And I had the privilege to see her set new boundaries, speak the truth, and most importantly, choose herself. And now, just a few months ago, she sent me a picture of her dressed in a beautiful sari, a sari she hadn't worn in years. And for the record, most of us here haven't worn sari in years. So she's already winning. In another picture, she was in the kitchen having cooked for herself for the first time in what felt like forever. So I finally could see that, you know, she started to live. She finally found that warmth. And that is the best reminder I could have asked for. And the truth is that she was taking her scenic route home. And that is the magic I want to help create. Because healing is not about becoming someone new, it is about remembering who you've always been. So, the thing is that wired differently, according to me, means taking your scenic route home. So, the next time you hit a dead end, you make a mistake, just stop and ask yourself, what if this is my scenic route? What if this is not a mistake? Because I promise you, through all the detours, all the doubts, and all the heartbreaks, you were always on your path and you were home all along. Now that I conclude my weird story, I would like to end with a quote that has stayed with me through all my detours and turns. So they're Rumi's lines, and they're so beautiful. He said, "It's your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but nobody is going to walk it for you." Thank you.